Hello everyone, welcome to Triaright. This is back 365. Myself Sujit. So in this session, we are going to learn how to make it possible the method overloading in our polymorphism. Because in the previous session, we are already know method overloading is not possible. Then there might be some chances that we can make it possible, but sometime, okay, for every time it not possible. Then how to make it possible? Now we're trying to see. So first come to our VS Code. So guys, in the previous session, we are already see this example. Okay. Now whenever I'm just try to print the print object add, I will be passing 4 arguments. So at that time, it will be gives me the output because object always take the recent object method. Okay. So for this object method will be add and it will be taking 4 arguments. Now if I try to give for my second one, so it will give me an error that we need one more extra positional argument. So now how to make it possible? So guys, to make it possible, our overloading in our oops concept, there are two ways. Okay. First, we can use our variable length non-keyword argument. So guys, what is called variable length in the already in the argument session, we have already discussed how to make it possible by the help of our asterisk args. Okay, if I try to use this concept called our variable length non-keyword argument, so how it can do? Now we try to see. So first we try to comment this one. So now we try to create a new class. So based on that, we are trying to do that. Okay, so first I'm just try to create a class because every time the oops purely based upon our class and object. So because in our overloading method says that every time you are just try to create same method inside one class only. That's why here I'm just try to use this concept. So here I'm just try to use the variable length non-keyword argument. So what is the use of this variable length non-keyword argument? So guys, it will be accept n number of input and produce the, or we can say that perform the operation. Okay, means as of now, if you are see here also, we are trying to make it possible that we are need 4 argument, we are need 3 argument. But now if we are trying to use this variable length non-keyword argument, so here we don't need to specify, means based upon the user input you can get it. Okay, so now here I'm just trying to take method called our add. So here every time it will be take one mandatory argument that is called self, and here it will be taking, or we can say that to represent our variable length non-keyword argument, first we need to provide a asterisk, then only you need to provide a variable name called our args. So now every time my requirement will be how many input I am getting from my user, that it needs to print, because here if I try to print only for 4, then only it needs to give the output. But what about 3? What about 4? What about 6? So at that case, this variable length non-keyword argument, it will be take. So every time we are just try to add this result. So every time we are just try to take a extra variables that is called result to store that. Okay. So because as of now, we don't know how many input we are trying to get from the user. That's why here I'm specifying a variable's name as args. So now I'm just trying to run that. How many number I'm getting from user. So here we are trying to perform every time the same operation to get that number. So for element in our args, because every time I just try to get every time the number, that's why I'm directly run my for loop in my collection data type. Okay, so now my requirement will be how many number I'm getting from the user every time I just need to add. Okay, after adding, every time I just need to print that particular things. Okay, means the result. Okay, so now after creating the class, now we try to create object, because without object we cannot access any variable, or we can say that we cannot access any method also. Okay, so first we are try to create a object. So how to create an object? First, you need to provide your object name followed by the class name. So here my class name will be sample. Okay. Now this sample will be not taking any mandatory argument. Also, we are not provide any constructor also. That's why here I don't need to provide any parameter. Okay. So now I just want to run this add method by our n number of input. Means I can pass 3 argument, I can pass 4 argument, I can pass 5 argument. Okay. So how it makes possible? By the help of our object reference. So how to achieve this object reference? By the help of the object name dot my method name. So here my method name will be add. So guys, just see this add will be take one mandatory argument that you need to give some input, or we can say that parameter. So now first my requirement will be I need to pass 4 argument. Okay. So now if I'm try to run this one, it will be give me the output as 10. Now if I'm try to give 3 argument. Okay. So obj1 dot add, and here I'm try to pass 3 argument. Okay. Now also it will give me the output. So it is not efficient way to dealing with our method overloading, but we can make it possible. But in the real time, it will be not work. Okay. Because we know that Python will be not supporting our method overloading in our oops concept. Okay. So this is all about our variable length non-keyword argument. So now we are trying to use the second method called our default argument. Okay. What is called our default argument, guys? Means here I'm just trying to create a variable length non-keyword argument. Now I'm just trying to pass some default value. Means here I need to specify some variables. Means based on that it needs to give the output. Okay. So now to create this one, again we're trying to create a class and we're trying to create an object here also. Okay. So now how to create a class? By the followed by the class keyword. Then here you need to write your class name. So here my class name will be sample. Okay. After getting that, I need to create again a method. So here I'm trying to create a method called add only. Okay. So now after getting this add is my input. Okay. Here every time I just try to create method. So this method we can say that object method. So how to access our object method? By the help of ourself. Then here we need to provide some default parameter, or we can say that default argument. So here if I'm not passing any value for that, so at that time it needs to give some default value. So every time I just need to add. That's why here I'm trying to pass some variables as my 0. Okay. So a equal to 0, b equal to 0, then c equal to 0, and d equal to also 0. Okay. Now here I'm just trying to do for my 4 input. Okay. If I'm trying to pass 5 input, at that time it will be give me the error. Okay. So now after I'm getting the user input, now every time I just need to add that particular thing. So guys, just see now after creating class and after creating the method, now we are just trying to create the object. So how to create the object? First you need to provide the object name, then followed by our class name. So our class name will be sample. After creating this, now we try to pass as of now 2 variables. Then after that we try to 4. Then after that we try to 5 variables. Okay. So how to access this method? We have only one option, that is called our object reference. So here I need to pass obj1 dot my method name. So here I need to pass 2 variables. Okay. Now if I'm trying to run this one, so first it will be taking from my user input as 1 and 2. Then here it will be taking the default value as c equal to 0 and d equal to also 0. Means if this method will be not getting the 4 argument, it will be taking the default value as 0 0. So it will be add all the 4 variables as a plus b plus c plus d. Now it will be providing the output as 3, because here we are trying to provide 1 comma 2. Okay. Now here I need to pass 4 argument. Okay. So obj1 dot add, here I need to provide 4 argument. Now here it will be give me the 10 as my output. Okay. Because we know that whenever we try to pass the default argument, it will be taking the value at that time if we are not passing the exact value what the function or method wants. Okay. Now if I try to pass 5 arguments, so at that time it will gives me the error. So guys, just see here if I'm trying to pass 5 argument. Okay. Now if I try to run this one, it will be gives me, because here we are trying to pass 5 argument, but you are keeping only 4 argument. That's why we can say that the default argument is not 100% efficient, means based on the user input. Suppose guys, if I already know how many input we are trying to get from user, at that time this default argument it going to work, but every time it will be not going to work. Okay guys, so that's why we can say that our method overloading is not possible in our Python. Okay, means partially we can make possible by the help of these two methods, variable length non-keyword argument, and by the help of our default argument. So now we are just try to write both the things, then only we are just try to see the next one called our method overriding, means how the method overriding is going to work. Okay, so here I'm just trying to write the note points. Okay guys, so the first point will be to make, okay, so to make method overloading, to make method overloading possible in Python, we have two options. Okay, two options, but not 100% sure. Okay, you need to mention that particular things. Okay, so yeah, so now we are write the two methods, or first one called our by using our, so using variable length. Okay, variable length non-keyword arguments. Okay, and the second one called our, so here arguments, and the second one called our by using our default argument. Okay, so these are the two options we can make it possible, but it is not 100% sure. If in the interview they will be asked, you need to specify both the condition. Okay, first you need to specify why it will be not possible, then you need to specify, but there might be chance, or we can say that partially possible but not 100% sure. Okay, now the next one is called our method overriding. Okay, so how the method overriding will going to work in this case, now we're trying to see. So first, what is method overriding? Okay, so in the method overloading says that we need to create one class, and inside this class we are trying to create method with the same name but the different functionality. But if I try to achieve our method overriding, make sure that we need a one concept that is called our inheritance, means without inheritance we cannot make it possible our method overriding. Okay, then what is method overriding? So guys, if I try to perform this method overriding, first you need to create two class, or we can say that more class also. But to understand, we need to understand like that. If I try to create two class, and inside this class, okay, means suppose if I try to class 1 and 2, okay, inside the class 1 you are trying to create the same method with the same functionality, means in the overloading it will be taking different functionality, means we can pass 3 argument, 4 argument, but in our method overriding you make sure that you need to pass your same method name in the one class, and in the other class also you need to provide the same method name with the same argument, or we can say that the signature or the functionality will be same. Then we can say that our overriding is possible. So now if I'm trying to give a short history, or we can say that short definition, if you are having same method name with same method signature, means here we have the different signature, or we can say that functionality in different class, means now we are trying to create two class, because we are already know if you are want to make it possible our method overriding, our inheritance is mandatory. That's why here we can say that we need to create two class, then we need to make it our inheritance, then we need to perform that particular things. Okay, so different class, then the method available in parent class is override with our method available in child class. So now to understand more clarity in that, we are trying to create two class and we are trying to create some method. Okay. So first we are trying to create class. So here I'm taking sample one. Okay. So here I'm just trying to take two method. Okay. So here I'm just trying to take a hello. Okay. Simple. We can say that a my method name will called our sm. Okay, so here we know that if I try to create any object method, here it will be taking one mandatory argument that is called self for your recent object address. Every time if I try to perform this method, I need to print hello. Okay, now after printing hello, I need to create a one more one called our method 2. Okay, here I'm just try to give the method 1. Okay, m1, and here I need to provide m2, and this m2 also will taking one mandatory argument that is called self. Now if I try to print this one, every time it needs to print by. Okay, so as of now we are just try to print two method in a single class. Okay, now we are try to create a one more class. So here I need to provide sample2. Okay, so we know that method overriding will be important. We need to use our inheritance. So how to make it inheritance? Now in our parenthesis, you need to provide your parent class address. So my parent class will be sample1. Okay, because we know that whenever we are trying to print any class name, it will gives you the address. That's why here I'm passing sample1. Okay, now the method overriding says that we have to create same method name with the same functionality. So we here also we are trying to create the same method name with the same functionality. So now we are trying to create method 1. It will also taking one mandatory argument that is called self, but here I need to print extra thing that hello world. Okay, now for the second one I need to print the method 2. Method 2 also taking one mandatory argument that is called self, and here I need to print by world. Okay, so in my quotation mark I need to print. Okay, so print our by world. Okay, so now after creating this class, now we know that we need to make object to access. Okay, so first we are trying to create object. So here I am creating the object for my recent class. Okay, so my recent class will be sample2. Now after getting this, now my requirement will be I want to get this m2. Okay, so guys, m2 also available in my child class, also available in my parent class. So this method overriding says that after creating the same method name with the same method functionality in different class, the method available in parent class, so the method, the m1 and m2 will be available in parent class, is overriding by the help of our child class. So now if I try to access this m2, it will print me hello world. If I'm trying to print m2, here it will be print by world, means this method, means the parent class method will be override with our child class method. Okay, so now we are trying to see that. So obj dot our m2. Okay, so now if I try to call this method, okay, so now it will give me the output as by world. Okay, now if I try to use the next one called our obj dot our m1, so here it will be give me hello world. Okay, means the parent class functionality will be override with our child class functionality. So this is called our method overriding in Python, or we can say that in our OOPS concept. So guys, how the method overriding will be happen, means these are will be overriding with my child class. Okay, the functionality will be same. If I try to change here, then it will be not possible. Make sure that your method functionality must be same. Okay, now we are just trying to write all the theoretical point that's available. Okay, so to apply method overriding, okay, so to apply method overriding in our OOPS, we have to use inheritance. Okay, inheritance. Then the next point, what is called our method overriding. Okay, if we are having this same method, okay, if we are having this same method with same method name, okay, so I need to specify for particular that same method name with same method class, okay, with the same method functionality, okay, with the same functionality, okay. So here I need to specify same method name with the same functionality, or we can say that signature also in different class, okay, in different class. Then the method available, okay, method present, okay, method present in parent class, okay, method present in parent class is overridden, okay, is overridden with our child class method, okay. So this is all about our method overriding and method overloading that's available in our oops concept. So guys, in the next session we are trying to see how the operator overriding is going to happen, but make sure that this our method overriding and method overloading only achieved by the help of our polymorphism, but this is called our advanced concept in our method overloading, or we can say that our operator overloading. So how the method operator overloading will going to work in our upcoming session, we are trying to dealing with that. So that's all for this session. Thanks for watching Triaright.